a bit, but the big political story that's broken this evening. The Indian government suggested Reliance Defense is a partner for the Rafale deal. That is the word from former French President François Hollande. In an interview to a French publication, Mediapart, this statement contradicts the Indian government's statement so far on the fighter jet deal. When asked how and by whom was Reliance Defense selected, Hollande answered, and I quote, "We didn't have a word to say about that subject. The Indian government suggested the service provider and Dassault negotiated with the Ambanis. We did not have a choice," end of quote. The Defense Ministry has responded to Hollande's statement. The ministry says the report in the French media house is being verified and went on to say that they reiterate that neither the government of India or the French government had any say in that commercial decision. Let's go across now to the former Finance Minister, P. Chidambaram. He joins me now. Mr. Chidambaram, we have now heard from the former French president telling a French media publication that the choice was not with the French government and that the Indian government decided on the company that Dassault partnered with, which happened to be Reliance Defense. What do you make of this revelation?
Well, it's exposed another lie of the Indian government. In the Rafale deal, as I had just tweeted, we have not got any planes. We've only got a series of lies. And this is one more lie which has been exposed by no less than the former French president, who should know, because he was the other principal, along with our Prime Minister, who concluded the deal.
You know, we are still waiting to see the exact transcript of that interview to the French publication, but there were also suggestions of previous reports carried by Indian newspapers of a possible deal between François Hollande's partner and suggestions of a quid pro quo. So can we take at face value the statement made by the former French president?
I don't know anything about a quid pro quo. All I know is that Le Monde bureau chief has referred to that interview in a reputed French publication. Obviously, the interview has appeared. The interview is authentic. Nobody from the French side has denied the interview. And the Indian defense spokesman has just now said they are examining the matter and they will respond subsequently. So if the French president has said, as Le Monde's bureau chief says, that they had no choice in the offset partner and the name was given by the Indian government, the question is, why did the Indian government not give the name of HAL? Or if they wanted to give another name, why didn't they give it along with HAL's name? Why didn't they give a choice of 3 or 4 names? The point is, HAL was not proposed by the Indian government. And the question I've been asking for the last 2-3 weeks is, HAL is a public sector concern. It has experience in making aircraft. It was the partner of choice under the UPA government. It had a work share agreement with Dassault. So the first name that the Indian government ought to have proposed to Dassault and to the French government is HAL. If after that they had rejected HAL, that's a different matter. But did you propose HAL? But from what the defense minister has been saying over the last few days, she thinks HAL is incompetent to make aircraft. And certainly they would not have proposed anybody they consider incompetent.
You know, Mr. Chidambaram, since you bring up the defense minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, sir, let me take you through what she has said in a statement. In fact, she goes on to say that it was the UPA that dropped HAL from that proposed transaction. That it was on account of the UPA that HAL was left out of the deal.
We didn't drop HAL. We proposed HAL. HAL had a work share agreement with Dassault. The negotiations could not be concluded on who will give the guarantee for the 108 aircraft that will be made in India based on transfer technology. But our choice of a partner to make the aircraft was always HAL. Now here we're not talking about making the aircraft. We're talking about an offset partner. Is the government of India saying that HAL is incompetent to make aircraft? HAL is incompetent to be a Dassault partner? Offset partner for Dassault? I mean, what is it? They have no belief in the competence of HAL in any matter whatsoever? We are talking about not HAL as a manufacturer of the aircraft.
Right.
We're talking about HAL as an offset partner to supply some equipment to fulfill the offset obligation.
But just to take that forward, sir, and I quote to you the defense minister, she said that Dassault and HAL could not agree on the production terms, and as a result, HAL and Rafale could not go together. She then goes on to say that it was in the interest of HAL that HAL's interests and the Indian Air Force interests were not taken care of by the UPA during the UPA's tenure.
Tying herself up in knots. Please understand, we proposed HAL, and that was the only proposal we made. The negotiations were not concluded. The NDA comes into government. NDA should have picked up the thread and said, no, we stand by HAL. Please transfer technology and we'll make the aircraft in HAL. All right. The manufacturing deal fell through for whatever reason. They bought 36 aircraft in flyaway condition. We haven't seen the first aircraft yet. But then the offset question. We are now dealing with the offset question. Don't go back to manufacturing. Focus on the offset. Did Government of India propose HAL as a potential offset partner for Dassault? Answer must be yes or no. And ask the defense minister to answer yes or no.
So what is the strategy going to be now, Mr. Chidambaram, especially in light of what we have heard from the French president, from the former French president through that interview? What is the Congress's strategy going to be?
They will entertain the nation with more lies. There have been so many lies in this. The defense minister said she didn't even know that Dassault had chosen an offset partner. On the same day, the French defense minister who met her, the same French defense minister flew to Nagpur and was laying the foundation stone along with the chief minister of Maharashtra and the roads and transport minister of India on the same day or the next day, whatever. Then the defense minister said she instructed the defense secretary to reveal the price. And then months later she says, I asked him to reveal only the basic price. I mean, I'm sorry for her, but she's tying herself up in knots.
Mr. Chidambaram, so in terms of next steps now, you've taken the matter to the CAG, you've sought a CVC probe, there is a separate PIL in the Supreme Court. What will the next step be in the Congress's strategy on the Rafale matter?
All I know is that the party has officially approached the CAG, and I think they are approaching the CVC. So this matter deserves to be examined thoroughly.
All right, Mr. Chidambaram, we leave it there. Appreciate you joining us. That's the former Finance Minister, P. Chidambaram. Joining us now, also defense analyst Ajay Shukla. Ajay, in light of what we've heard from the former French president saying that the French government had no say and the decision was a decision made by the Indian government to bring Reliance Defense on board, how do you see this now playing out?
Well, this is a real blow to the BJP's position and its arguments that it was making. The BJP's argument was that it had not engaged in crony capitalism by putting Anil Ambani forward and by making him get the benefits of being the Indian offset partner. Now the French president of that time, François Hollande, who stood next to Narendra Modi when that deal was announced, the Rafale deal was announced, has himself said that it was not the French who selected Anil Ambani. It was the government of India who put them forward. That completely knocks the bottom out of this distance that the government is trying to create between itself and Anil Ambani, and it makes Anil Ambani the favored government nominee, which is not some position that it wants to be in. This is something that the Congress is going to attack greatly. This is going to be the key focus of the Congress attack hereafter, this distance, the removal of the distance between the government and Anil Ambani and the crony capitalism charge.